Hey guys, Marty here. Today I'm coming at you with a special video. What you're looking at is an Elder Ring. And this is possibly the most broken thing in current endgame mapping. Um, what this allows you to do is have Elder influence on every single shaped map you have. So I have Tribunal, Haunted Mansion, Waste Pool, Armory, and Underground Sea, all permanently Elder influence. For anyone who's unfamiliar with how Elder influence works, Elder influence adds a bunch of extra mobs to the map. The portals drop an insane amount of maps. All of the mobs drop a lot of currency. And more importantly, it allows you to get Elder bases. For example, this is a Shaper-based ring that I'm using. The powerful Shaper aspect of this is the curse enemies with level 12 assassins mark on hit. Elder rings can get warlords mark on hit, and there's a million different other Elder items that are extremely powerful, such as my helmet. The socketed attacks have plus 3% to crit chance, critical strike chance. That is an Elder modifier, only capable on Elder mods, and I have this with my kinetic blast. It's almost like having a increased crits gem in my helmet, just based off of that modifier there. And that allows you to do things such as run a 5-link KB in your helm and a 6-link barrage in your chest, which for a wander that's invaluable, or that's amazingly valuable because you already are struggling on links with your auras, running bubonics, all these abyssal sockets, stuff like that. So anywhere you can save sockets or allow for better links, it's going to be crazy. Now this extends to other builds. There's Elder helmets are extremely powerful for Righteous Fire builds because they can get concentrated effect and burning damage on them. So those are extremely valuable to high item level bases. And this Elder Ring allows me to have permanent influence on a tier 16 map, which means that I would by default drop only 83 plus items and up to item level 85 items, such as an item level 85 Royal Burgonet would be worth an insane amount if it's Elder influenced. Or in Tribunal, I can drop bone helmets, which for necromancers, these are crazy if you had an Elder Influence bone helmet that's high item level. And, the list goes on and on of useful Elder items. And as far as how this works, so the obvious thing is we have this little gap between my Elder and my Guardian. Elder can only influence up to 30 maps at any given time, and Elder must always be connected to his Guardians. So my Guardian on Vol Pyramid has to be connected to my Elder on Spider Forest. I have 29 maps in a line connecting them, which means that there's one extra map, and that extra map is currently on Bog. And every 50 maps or so, my Bog will change to another location. Bog can spawn on Estuary, which will completely screw up the ring if I don't notice and I continue running maps and give time for Shaper to cut a hole in my ring, and then I still don't notice because say Shaper took over Courtyard, it wouldn't immediately break my ring, and I could run Courtyard and make it Elder Influence to fix my ring. But if I were to continue running maps after Shaper takes Courtyard, then Shaper could take Ivory Temple, and then I would lose this wing of my ring, and I'd need to set the entire thing up again, which would be fine because I would like to have a 2-gap ring, which would be impossible to break. However, because I had this, it was my first time ever setting one up, I'm just going with it. And over the past 2 days, I've run maybe 500 maps or so, maybe more. I haven't had any problems. There's been one time where Elder took over Estuary. I don't know exactly how many maps he had it for, but I was able to notice, maybe at most 5 maps later, and I immediately ran an Estuary. This made me back to my 29 Elder maps. Then I ran an Arachnid Tomb, which put Elder on Arachnid Tomb, and I had 30 influence maps. I ran another 100 or so maps before I even saw it change, and initially it moved to Mausoleum, and then it's been on Bazaar a few times, and Elder will just go between connected maps. So the flaw with my ring is that the one gap between this side of Elder and this side of Elder is Estuary. Now, let's just pretend for a second that I could have these maps anywhere I wanted. If we were out here, going down this way, and then my Elder ended on Tribunal, or my Elder ended on Academy. So I had a 2-map gap between this side of Elder and this side of Elder with a 29 map chain. That would make it impossible for me to lose my Elder influence because he would control 29 maps, but he would need to take 2 more maps to reconnect, which means say he took over Vol Pyramid, he can never take over Estuary unless he loses Vol Pyramid. So he'll bounce back and forth between the two. And so that's your dream Elder setup. Now, there are other ways to set this up, like someone in a chat linked me. This is an Elder setup that works for permanent Elder sustain on every single one of these maps, except for Moon Temple up here. If you run, or sorry, rather Belfry. If you were to run this and remove the Guardian, it would not be permanent. However, if you run any other map in this influence, it will always be Elder influenced. So he has it for Burial Chambers and a couple other maps. And so the way this one works is that he has 30 Shaper or Elder influence maps in a line, essentially. However, the few maps extra, so if we count his maps, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So it's 26 maps. However, his 4 extra maps are over here. And because there's no Shaper influence next to these maps, he will never lose these maps, even if he runs them. The only one he cannot run is Graveyard. So if he runs Graveyard, he'll lose his Elder on that because it's an extremity. It's not a part of the chain, so Shaper would take that over. And then by doing that, he opens up the vulnerability to marshes. However, as long as he doesn't run Graveyard, Shaper cannot take this over because Shaper can't be next to these maps. Like Shaper right now would be fighting in these maps, but if Shaper were to take Gorge, it would make Elder not connected to the Guardian. So therefore, Shaper cannot take Gorge, if that makes sense. So the whole concept is about blocking Shaper from ruining your ring. So we'll close that. But that's a permanent Burial Chambers Elder setup. And there's a few other ways to do it. There's actually a ton of different ways to do it. But the general concept is you want to make a 29 map chain where there's a 2 map gap between your Guardian and your Elder. Ideally more, but it's fine. My 1 map gap Elder has not had any problems yet. I've been perfectly fine sustaining this. And as long as I never let Estuary be taken, I will never lose this ring. So, you can totally do a ring like mine. And personally, I think that the maps on this ring are the best you can possibly get because Waste Pool, God tier map. Armory, God tier map. Underground Sea, same story, God tier. Tribunal, debatable. But Haunted Mansion, also an amazing map. So basically, we've got all these crazy, crazy powerful maps with either good div cards or great density or whatever that are all permanently under Elder's influence, allowing me for way better map sustain. Tonight I ran 12 Underground Seas. I was returned with 1 section, sorry. I returned 4 Tribunals. I think I got 9 Underground Seas back, or maybe 10. I'm pretty sure I started with 26 Underground Seas, so I guess that would be 11 Underground Seas back. I got 1 Armory back off the boss. That's just 1 sextant running with Elder Influence. And that'll snowball. As I run more and more maps, this Elder Influence adding extra mobs to my maps is just going to give me so much better sustain. And we all know Reddit's been complaining a lot about map sustain in this league. This is a way to solve it. And it didn't take that long to set up. It took me about 12 hours from learning about the concept, looking up guides on Reddit, and reviewing with people in my chat what we could do, what maps we wanted to hit, etc., etc. Shoutouts to Balor Mage and Slight Red Eye, who both helped me set up this ring. I'm going to put links to both of their Twitches in my YouTube description. They both gave me a little bit of insight on how to set up a ring, and I couldn't have done this without them. Also Sparog, but he's not really a streamer. But the process of setting this up was my Elder spawned here. I had Guardians on these 2 maps and this map. So my initial analysis was I can make a 2 gap here. However, that doesn't work because then it's got 2 paths it can connect through. So my other option was to create the gap with the Vault Pyramid to Spider Forest. So I could go through a 2 gap here, which I was really excited about. but that fucks with your chain because you need to spread Elder through this way. Otherwise, you can't get Elder out to the rest of your map. So the process, initially, I tried making my ring go all the way around this way, and of course you're connected through here when you do this. You cannot separate them until you actually complete the ring. So I was spreading it this way. I got to about Temple, and then I lost my ring because Shaper at one of these connectors here, I think it was at Haunted Mansion, which is connected to Shaper on City Square, Shaper won the battle here, which cut my entire section all the way up to Temple off, and that was, obviously very tedious. So there is a way you can protect against this, depending on what kind of ring you're setting up. So say I were to take over City Square as I'm still expanding my Elder, that will protect my Haunted Mansion. But I found this to be a useless strategy because it's just creating more maps you have to run as you set it up. And because the minimum amount of maps that I could set my ring up was 24, I could only have up to 6 blocks. And yet Shaper's attacking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, etc., etc. There's like 20 places Shaper's attacking, and eventually one of those is going to get broken. So my plan, and what I think is the best way to do this, is to just YOLO through and do it in both directions, as someone in my Twitch chat recommended. I also read it in the guide that this was a good way to do it, but I had spaced my mind. So what I then did was I got to about Spider Layer over here, so we're starting the spread this way, and then I immediately changed my direction and I started taking Dunes. I took Mud Geyser, I took Waste Pool, and then I went with an inner ring to cut the amount of maps I needed down. So I went to Orchard, and I went to Sepulcher, and then I went to Belfry. And then I went back to this side, and I started taking these maps. So I took Fields, I took Residence, I took Courtyard, and I think I might have lost my Elder again at some point here. But then I was able to get it back to this situation where we're at Courtyard, we're at Belfry, and then I take Moon Temple, and then we had one map to go. And then I think we lost it on the one map to go. But then we got it back. We only lost 1 or 2 maps, and so when I took this Temple over, then that's when you got your ring started. That's when you can start to remove this. So the first step after taking over this ring, it was a shortened ring at the time, was to immediately remove Estuary. Because once Estuary is gone, you cannot lose your ring anymore unless Estuary is taken. So I ran Estuary, cleared the Elder out of that, and then from there I could start sculpting my ring and creating it to be more like what I wanted. So this path was already correct. We only wanted in one line, and that's the best way to path it out. However, right here we had to fix this. So the first step was to clear some Elder out. I had Gardens and Tropical and Conservatory were all under Elder influence, so I removed those Elders one by one. And when I took out Gardens, I put my Elder onto Mineral Pools. When I took out Tropical, I put my Elder onto Underground River. But when I did Underground River, it messed up. Elder had taken another map before I took Tropical, or before I took Underground River. So when I took Tropical, Elder took over something random over here, City Square or whatever. So then I had to remove this new map because Elder was at 30 maps, so I wasn't able to take over Underground River. I had to clear Elder down to 29 or fewer maps in order to be able to expand him in a direction I wanted. And the way you expand him, just to clarify, is you run a Shaper map that's connected to Elder. And this isn't just true for rings. I get this question a lot in chat, how to spread Elder to where you want him. You always run a Shaper map connected to an Elder map when you're wanting to spread your Elder. So anyways, I managed to get onto River, which created a new path for how we could connect. So I cleared another map from down here, I connected to Geode. This meant we could cut out Belfry. So when I cut out Belfry, I then connected to Vault. So because we now had this path here, I was able to cut out Sepulcher. And then after cutting out Sepulcher, I was able to connect through Overgrown Ruin, we could cut out Orchard, and then we were close to the ring. At that point, we only needed to add in Lava Chamber, Armory, and Ramparts, and Underground Sea. So the process of doing that was just removing all of my excess Elder maps, remove the Conservatory, remove Arachnid Tomb, which was Elder influence, etc., etc., and one by one, extending this. So first we took over Lava Chamber, then we removed another Elder map, wherever it was, took over Armory, then we removed another Elder map, and we took over Ramparts, and then we removed one final Elder map, I believe, I forget where it was, somewhere over here, Geode or something, and we took over Underground Sea. Then once we had Underground Sea, the last map was like Vault. That was my floater map at the time. And we got rid of Vault. We put Elder onto Arachnatomb as a placeholder. Actually, Elder initially went to Bazaar, but I was worried about how quickly it would change its influence, and so I moved it to Arachnatomb because I figured it being next to Elder would probably make it less inclined to move. It does not seem to be true, but just in case, you can go for that strat if you want to. Um, Now, if you have a 2-gap ring, it's not quite as big of a deal. Um, Once you get the ring set up, you won't need to pay any attention. But because I went with a 1-gap ring, I do need to watch estuary. That's the one thing to look out for. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat or on YouTube comments, or check out my stream and ask me about the video. I'm going to have a command for the video, so hopefully a lot of people will understand this. If there's anything major that I've left out or any information that I learn about this ring as we go, then I will be sure to update with another video and let you guys in on that. But as far as I know so far, this covers everything. And yeah, so feel free to check me out on Twitch. Join my Discord. Links will be down below. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, leveling a Wander. I still have my Wander. I'm sure I'm going to get asked a lot, did you die? But I won't be dead. I'm just going to show how to level because that's another frequently asked question, is how to level up Wanders, and that'll be tomorrow's stream. So I hope everyone enjoys this, yeah, I hope to see you guys around. And big ups to, once again to Balor Mage, Slight Red Eye, and Sparrog, all of which gave me incredibly valuable information about setting up Elder Rings, and I couldn't have done it without them. So be sure to check those guys out as well, guys. And thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all around.